It's Marvel, baby. I have played Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, and it is safe to say that the excitement that I had for this game before playing it has only been exacerbated now. I am so excited to get this game. So for those who didn't know, a few months ago, ArcSys announced that they were going to be making a Marvel fighting game, a 4-on-4 tag fighting game at that. But it wasn't like Marvel vs. Capcom. Obviously, because Capcom's not involved in this one, but if you know the style of those games, you're not going to be having the same thing here. It's a very different experience, and I'll go into what we actually got and what the game actually plays like, but for now, let's just talk about what it is. But it was crazy, like seeing that trailer get announced and how excited everyone on the internet seemed to be for it. I say everyone, in the circles that I kind of like move in, like everyone seemed to be super excited for it. As a fighting game player as well, like it was awesome to see the Marvel franchise come back, but without Capcom behind it, was it going to be the same Marvel game that we were used to playing? Because if you've played like Marvel Superheroes, or you've played Marvel vs. Capcom, or any of that franchise, like you know what to expect. Is this game going to feel like that? Because you've got ArcSys behind it now. And ArcSys, for those who don't know, are normally found behind like Guilty Gear, and Blaze Blue, and Dragon Ball Z, and those type of fighting games. So those games play very differently to the Marvel fighting games. But it works. How did I get my hands on the game, you might be wondering? Well, if you were reading your emails, there was a closed beta that went up for it, which meant that you could enter in, and if you were signed in to the Sony PlayStation closed beta program, you could get selected for it. Good news was it was really easy to enter because you just signed in with your PlayStation ID and it was all linked to your account that way, which was really cool, really seamless. Loved it. The game just appears in your library and you can just download it when it's like open. The downside of having a closed beta like that is not everyone who gets access actually wants access. I can guarantee there's a lot of people out there who have got access to beta programs that they didn't even realize they had or didn't really want in the first place. So the fact that it wasn't like a game-specific beta that you were opted into did mean that the people who were playing may not have necessarily been like fighting game players. However, if they do look at your account and do look at like what games you play and how long you play them, I do know that a lot of fighting game players will play them on PC. So they'll have a PS5 account, but maybe not actually that much time spent in fighting games on it. So maybe that played into it. I don't really know, but all I know is I was a lucky person who got selected for it. And I can genuinely remember being like super stoked when I opened that email up in the morning and thinking, this is great. Like I get to actually play this game that I'm super excited for. I get to make some content as well with it. I get to share my thoughts on it. It was super cool. And it was really cool to see everyone still clamoring for beta access as well, because it just shows how excited people are for this game. Like we want a good Marvel game. Because Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite just did not hit the mark. I know that there's mods for it now. I know Maximilian's behind some of the good work that's been going on with it, but the game was not the Marvel game that we all wanted after Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 as well. But enough of a history lesson, all right? This game looks incredible. I've mentioned before about how when ArcSys first got the game and how they were first designing their characters for it, they wanted to keep it true to the Marvel aesthetic. But when Marvel saw that, they said,
hold up, wait a minute.
Put your spin on it. That is probably the biggest honor you could have as a developer, to be told, no, we trust you to make these characters and make this game look good. And they did. I've already said in previous videos when I talked about this game when it's popped up at certain events about how Iron Man looks like a freaking mech. It's so sick. You see Captain America in this awesome suit of armor that he's got and this whole like great aesthetic to him. It all looks super cool. And even characters like Storm have a twist on their actual aesthetic, but they're still true to it. You could still see who that character is. And I loved it. Looking at the game, visually insane, absolutely amazing. The way the game looks in terms of like the frame rate was smooth all the way through. The moves telegraphed so well. The cutscenes and animations are just, they were so good. There was so much good about how this game looked, and the sound effects and the presentation was just insane. The music was gorgeous. There was one gripe though. I didn't hear "Take Me for a Ride." Now when the game starts up, you get a short introduction to the mechanics of Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls. You get shown how the movements work, how the moves work, how the attacks work, and it's really cool. And it is worth listening and watching that because there is no training mode in this closed beta. So I don't know if they're doing like later on access to it. We were called like beta 1, so there may be other beta weekends coming up. I imagine they will do more like network tests and stuff as well. So just bear in mind, if you do get into it, there's probably not going to be a training mode, but do make the most of that introduction because there is quite a lot to get your head around because the mechanics in this aren't the normal sort of tag mechanics, all right? So aside from all like the normal back and forth movements, you're blocking, your air blocking, you're dashing, your air dashing, that's all fine, all right? You've also got shortcut buttons for dashing instead of pressing the two, like, I think it was like the light attack and medium attack. If you press them together in direction, you would dash, or you could just hit a shortcut button for it. You know, it's normal fighting game stuff that you see in 2025, okay? But then it gets into the attacks, and that's where this game kind of opens up, because it's not your normal, like, light, medium, heavy, into a launcher, and then away you go in the air to do a massive combo. There's a lot you can do on the ground with just auto attacks. And I say auto attacks because you can just press light attack 4 times and it'll do a solid combo, which is a solid amount of damage as well. It's quite, like, devastating the amount of work you can actually get out of a really simple combo. You haven't got to worry about too much of like the input or like too crazy like a timing on anything. It just all works and it's really cool like that. But of course, if you want to put a spin on these combos, you can add like enders, or you can add like special moves to it. So as you're going through, you can mix it up and do like a light, then 2 mediums and another light to finish, or a heavy to finish off. And it's a really interesting way of doing it. And the special moves, that's my first gripe. And it's because I'm a bit of a purist and a bit of a snob when it comes to this. And I know this is kind of like old man yells at clouds type of mentality here, okay? But when I play a fighting game, I want to have to put in the inputs to do the moves, and I want to feel the reward for doing so, all right? So if I have to do a quarter circle forward punch to do a fireball, I want to have to do that. I don't want to press forward and special attack and it'll do the fireball, because that's what this game does. There's the option to have the full like motion set, and I will be using that because that's how I've always learned to play games. It's how I've always played fighting games, and on my arcade stick, it just kind of makes sense to me. It's just what I'm used to. I can't reprogram my brain to forget these motions, okay? But you can just press like forward and special attack and it'll do these moves, and the game leans into that in this tutorial because it was telling you from the start that that's how you do them. It wasn't until I went to the command list later on and I saw what the inputs were that I realized, oh hey, I can do other stuff. I can do these motions. So it is something that I do take a gripe with. I do understand why these modern controls exist. I get it. And you're a scrub if you can't get past modern controls and you can shut up, all right? Shut up. If you want to play with modern controls, that is absolutely fine. I just don't want them to be the first thing that the game suggests to me. If there was an option to select between them, then great. And there may be. Remember, everything that I'm saying about this game is based upon a beta that I played. And it's the first beta that we've all had real good access to. I know there was some at EVE. I don't know if there's a different build or not to this one, but this is not like a final representation of the game. And if there are any bugs and glitches, this should not be taken as like, oh, the game's bad because it's got this. No, there's things that we worked out, there's things that'll be added in, all right? So don't worry. The combos work super well together. And when you can get like the launcher and you're up in the sky and you're doing these combos, and you send them back down, and you're doing more combos on the ground, it made me feel like I felt when I was watching Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or playing Ultimate vs. Capcom 3. Yeah, it was just so good. It was so fun, so rewarding. And it all just came flooding back, all the memories that I had of those games, and it was so much fun. And I really liked that side of it. And you can extend the combos, and this is where the tag system comes in, because one thing you'll notice from the gameplay that you're seeing whilst I'm talking is there's 1 health bar. Now, if you've played a tag fighter in the past, especially a Marvel tag fighter in the past, 1 health bar is not normal. Normally, every character has a health bar, and essentially you would go through a character, they would go, then the next one would go, and then the next one, or you could tag in between and all that jazz. With this, you can't. With this, it's 1 health bar, but you have 4 characters that you can play as in one game. And your tags are more of assists. And you can swap into them if you want to, but they don't regain health. You all share 1 health bar. And I like that mechanic. Because 1, it means games don't go on forever. But 2, it also means that there's a lot more pressure in this, and it kind of feels like a 1v1 with like the old Marvel game assists, which were a really cool thing where you kind of like had a character with you, but they weren't yours to play. They had like 1 or 2 moves and that was it. And it was really interesting when you had those things. And they've kind of brought that back, although you can just swap into that character now. Please stick with me. When you swap into the character, they'll then change position potentially on where they are in your like tag stable, and you have to be mindful when you call for assists of which one you're going to get, because if you do rely on one for a combo and they're not in the right spot, they will do a different move. For example, you've got ones which are normally like launchers, you've got defensive ones, and then you've got like beams or like forward attack ones. And yeah, it can be really tricky to get your head around that. The game does an all right job of explaining it, but that was the one thing that kind of messed me up, was just getting lost in the tag system. But again, you don't have to use it. You can just play one-on-one. And for the most time, I just played with one character and just used assists because I wanted to learn one character or get my head around one character. Turns out I probably picked one of the harder ones to get my head around, but we'll get into that. But anyway, the combos, you extend them with the assists. So as you're doing like your launcher, if you hit your assist button at the right time, it'll call in one of your characters to then add more damage and set up for potentially like a super finish or however you want to finish it off. It just makes the game feel fun and feel cool. Like, it feels like this whole comic book aesthetic is real, and it's such a good thing. It was something that I was really like, when they explained it in their videos, I was really on edge about, oh, how's this going to work? But it works really well. It's really satisfying when it works. Just, it can be a bit confusing. So just bear that in mind, and do take the time when you get a chance to play it to invest in training mode, because I, for one, will be labbing hard on this game because I want to make sure that I am not getting lost in this tag system. Every character's also got like a unique skill as well. So it's not like a special move, but it's more like an ability that they can use. For example, like Cap's one is where he can throw his shield in a certain way, but then you can kick the shield back and you can essentially ping pong the shield back and forth. Doom's got a shield again that comes out, but it's like an absorbing one that absorbs like projectiles and stuff, or is close to him or far away. It's good for setting space and distance and like giving yourself a little bit of breathing room. So yeah, it's really worth investing in looking at your character and how they work. And the command lists are really intuitive as well. They take you through all of the actual skills that you've got, then some bread and butter basics of like how the character should be played, as well as the other things that you get with it, as well as a refresher of all the buttons, which is really cool. And it's really interesting that they've done that in the command list. Normally that's not there. So I was a fan of that and I like that. But once you get out of the training mode, you are then thrown into the online, because remember, this is a closed beta. It's not early access to a game. This game is going to be a paid for title, but it is closed beta. So we are going to be trying the online. We are going to be making sure the servers work. We are going to be making sure that people can matchmake, and that's what we were there to do. And it's really interesting how it's done. If you've played Street Fighter 6, you'll know what the Battle Hub is. Essentially, it's a place where you can go with your character and there's arcade machines there, and you go to the arcade machine and you wait for someone to challenge you. And that's what you're doing in this. You went to an arcade machine, someone would challenge you, and then you would play a set. And it was great because you could just keep on rematching that person until the set was finished. And if you wanted to, you could just go straight back into it again. Me and my friend Pete, who I've playing against on this, that's all we did. We basically hogged the machine, but there's so many there that it's absolutely fine. And you can just play sets back and forth. In between each round, each like match, you can change the order of your characters if you want. If you realize, oh, actually, I want to start with Storm first, then cool. Or if I want to start with Dr. Doom first, then cool. Like, Doom was my man in this one. I've always loved Doom in fighting games. Like, him in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 was just incredible. And I was really trying to get out of my head that it's not the same Doom. It's a different Dr. Doom, and he's not going to play exactly the same. So yeah, it was a little bit hard in that respect, but it was fun. And it was really cool when you hit these massive combos and you see the finishers go off on the super hits. And yeah, it just felt so rewarding, and it was so cool. And you can go around this like arcade area, you can chat to people if you want, you can emote, it's just all this normal stuff. There wasn't much else to do outside the battles. The main crux of it was to play the battles, and they were really fun, really stable. You've got the normal stuff at the top about how many like rollback frames they were, what the ping was. It was really stable for me throughout the entire thing. I'm blessed to have really good internet here, so you know that does go in my favor. If you've got not so good internet, you probably are going to struggle, but you probably struggle anyway, so yeah, it is what it is. But yeah, the online was super cool, super smooth. I had a blast playing it. It was really fun. Now, don't get me wrong, it got a little bit frustrating, but that's because I like to know what I'm doing, and I like to understand and practice my movesets. And just, even if I don't know every combo, I want to have some bread and butter basics down so I know what to do in certain situations. I need to know what my anti-airs are. I need to know what my get out of jail free moves are. I need to know how I can get out of certain situations and practice that. I haven't got to know like super long intricate combos, but as long as I can do some basics and get some solid damage off, that's what matters. And it was quite hard to practice that because I was still trying to get my head around the button layout. even though I customized it, I couldn't find one that worked for me, but I'm sure with time I would find one that was like just right for me. Like, my team was Doctor Doom, Captain America, Star-Lord, and who else did I have in my team? Oh, my mind's gone blank now. I pretty much, oh, Iron Man as well. Because Iron Man for me is a character that since Marvel superheroes in the arcade, I have loved in those fighting games. Because back then, I went to Spain on holiday with my family, and there was a little arcade at this Friday night market that we would go to where there'd be like trampolines and dodgems and all that, and there was an arcade there. And there was a couple of games, and the one game that I can remember was Marvel Superheroes. And I can remember always playing Iron Man, and having that hyper cannon like come down was just, that is imprinted up here. And that was back when pesetas were a thing. For those of you that don't know, it's not been a thing for a very long time, but I'm super excited for this game. In case you can't tell, like the way that I'm gushing about this game, I loved it. I absolutely love playing it, and I can't wait to play more of it. It is a day one for me. I am going to be purchasing that. I'm going to be playing loads of it. I'm going to be having fun with it. And I think it's a game where if you are a beginner, you will be able to still have fun. And if you do know the ins and outs of the system, you'll have an even better time. It's definitely going to be a game which is going to be very interesting to see how it works at EVO and how it works at the big fighting tournaments. Because I don't know who's going to be coming for this. Because you've got the players of like Guilty Gear, Blaze Blue, and all those games. You've got the players of Dragon Ball Fighters, and then you've also got the Marvel players from days of old who are going to be all wanting to jostle at this. And it's not going to play like anyone directly, but it is going to probably lean more to the Dragon Ball Fighter side of it because it is ArcSys who are behind it. So yeah, I'm not sure who's going to be taking it. I do hope we see some old names come back out for it. It would be really cool. I'm not saying any because I don't know if anyone's been cancelled or what has happened in the fighting game scene. I'm just going to say I do hope I see some old faces because it'll make me feel less old then. I am really grateful that I was able to get in on this closed beta, and I was really grateful that I was able to have a really good time playing it. And again, shout outs to Pete for kicking my butt again at this game. And it was really fun just seeing different characters and different mechanics and how they all work together. And I'm looking forward to adding some more coverage to this when it comes out. But for those of you that have signed up for the beta program, keep checking your emails because there potentially is going to be more coming out considering the way they were talking about our beta. And if you have signed up and you are waiting, just keep waiting. And if you've already been in it, I hope you had a great time and a blast. I love Marvel fighting games.
Where your curly mustache at?